in this week's
Okay.
episode, we talk about losing it in all its different forms.
We also talk about Flora.
Fauna. And then we just generally lose the plot.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Losing It, the Flora and Fauna edition. My name's Lytisha,
My name's Jeanette.
and we've been very lax, had a big long gap, and
We're back.
we're back. And Losing It might be quite a good title.
So, what have you been up to in all of this long time?
I have moved into my house and the renovations have been going on. There's one blue wall which is plastered, and there's many unfinished walls all around me. Please focus on the blue wall.
Beautiful blue.
I feel like I've not stopped since I moved in because I've had renovations ongoing and people coming and going, and the delays have been delays because I can't get hold of materials because of delays, and I have been losing it a bit with what's going on, to be honest.
I like the fact that we were due to start this and you sent me a text saying, I can't start yet, there's a man under the floorboards. It's like, that's so appropriate and probably incriminating.
Interestingly, he's nothing to do with building work, but the new cooker, which was really fabulous, and I'd love to tell you about my fabulous new cooker because it's fabulous, apart from the right hand side doesn't work at all.
That sounds shit.
The left hand side is fabulous and the fan is fabulous and it's got pretty lights. It heats up and cooks everything except the right hand side. 50% of it doesn't work. But it doesn't not work all the time. No, it only not works when there's nobody around. So when you get somebody to come and look at it, it works perfectly well. Obviously. And then you think, is it me? Because it could be. Have I not read the instructions? Have I put some sort of lock and time device on one half of the cooker and not on it? So for ages, I didn't call an engineer out because I thought it's bound to be me, but it kept happening. So I called an engineer out about 3 weeks ago and I tested it before he came and it worked perfectly every single time. I did it 3 times, so I cancelled him in the end because I was going to be sitting in it. It was one of those really hot days, hot muggy days, and I thought, I can't be alert until he gets it. And then it's been fine until the last couple of days and it's gone wrong again. But that's probably because I realised I've never used the right hand side because I know it doesn't work.
So why did you put the man under the floorboards?
Well, the fault code that comes up, because it's got a built-in induction and it sucks everything down from the fans. It's really exciting because you can watch it all go.
Oh.
But the fault code that comes up is a fan fault. But it's the same fan that works for the left and the right side of the cooker. So that doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever.
Is that like fan fiction?
It's fan fiction made up by a Foderlectic hob from IKEA. It's Swedish fan fiction. That's what it is. So I had an engineer who wanted to come and follow the mystery trail of the fan fiction. And he said, oh, where have you got it ducted to? I said, oh, it's under the floor. And he went, okay, do you want to have a look? And he said, okay. Because my under the floor in my kitchen area is not just under the floor. There's the floor and then there's 8 foot and then there's floor. So it's not just under the floor because I can stand up there and there's a good that much above my head.
That's creepy as can be.
Yeah. I just keep tradespeople down there. They all go down, they never come back.
You've got to be careful though. We very recently watched a film called Hider in the House, and Gary Busey hid in someone's house for ages.
Under the floor?
Well, it was more in an attic, I think, like a kind of upstairs, but he was having a whole life. And then he fell in love with the people in the house while they're kind of set up and the woman.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen.
I did let him out from under the floor and he did leave through the door, the front door, and exit. But he has got to come back because it's not resolved because he couldn't work it out.
What's going to happen the next day?
How are you doing? How's your last while been?
Went to Vegas. That was fun. Done some shows. Put on a comedy gig the other day. This is nerdy. A poker commentator guy who's also a comedian He's very famous to us because we watch all the poker programs. Met him in Vegas, and I said, "Oh, do you do shows in the UK?" And then we set one up.
So you're an international talent booker now.
Well, yes, of course.
Brilliant. Amazing what happens when you start talking to people in Vegas, isn't it?
Really good show. It was a lot of fun. And then we all went and played poker.
Even better.
Oh yeah, we got a theme. Well, we said Flora and Fauna, and then accidentally, you were Fauna, I was Flora.
Yeah. Aren't we clever? Coincidentally, my crazy zebra. Tell me about your Flora outfit. Does it have a story?
No, not really. Other than it's quite old. I was going to get rid of it, and then I salvaged it. I was like, no, I think there's still some life left in that.
So it's had a recycling in your
Yeah, I'm
wardrobe.
like some kind of eco hero, I think.
I think so. I think the planet's a lot safer because you've got your floral dress. Conversely, this is a brand new dress.
Wasteful individual.
Wasteful individual.
It's very nice.
Thank you. I like your dress. I like your little straps and very delicate and elegant. My dress is actually quite a long dress with a bit of a slit up the side. And I got it because I've only really in the last 5 weeks unpacked my clothes, which has been very exciting. But I wanted something different to wear because I've only been wearing like the same 5 outfits for 5 months. So I wanted something different to wear for a poetry event I was doing. So I bought this to premiere at my poetry event. And then I put it on, and you know how some days you just clothes just don't fit some days, do they?
You're right.
And it was in that very, very, very hot spell. So I couldn't face something that's quite fitted and long, zebra-y. I wasn't feeling very zebra-y.
You've got to feel zebra if you're going to embrace the zebra.
Yeah, so I hadn't worn it before, so there we are. World premiere.
But so you've been doing loads of poetry stuff, haven't you? Like loads. I've seen it.
Yeah, we had a really, really good few things. Went to Southall stroke Southwell, folk gate to Southwell stroke Southall. They can't agree, the people that live there. So went to the Gate to Southall Festival with DIY poets, and we had a really, really good performance on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, we hosted a slam, which was really cool. And we all got beaten by 9-year-old Tibby, who is now the Bard of Southall. Well, that was really cool. She's got the title for the year. We all got bounced, but that's cool. She had a really good poem.
Genuinely, wow.
Oh, Tibby Star's dad is the person who did the intro music for us.
Ah.
Oh, I've got an exciting one coming up. I'm going back to Camper Calling Festival. Don't know if you recall last year when I'd seen more than 2 people and I suddenly went to a 20,000 person festival.
I do remember.
So last year I went to Camper Calling, so I went from seeing 1 or 2 people at a time to 20,000 people, which was a little bit freaky at the time, and I was a bit. Well, I'm going back this year, and this year I'm a little bit more prepared with peopling.
Yeah, it's all right now, isn't it?
Anyway, so I'm more happy with peopling this year, so it'll be cool.
That is good. Oh yeah, I had COVID.
Oh no!
I got the COVID on the way back from Vegas. Right.
That aeroplane thing.
Yeah. So we stopped over in New York and had like 8 hours there. But on that particular flight, a woman behind me was like coughing the whole time. And I turned around to give her like evil eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And she just went like this. She was coughing. And then she just went. And I was like, you've not even got your hands over your mouth, you scumbag.
No masks.
And she looked ruined, like she's got to have known she had it. And then I kind of forgot about it until like 2 days later when my sore throat came, and I was like, I've got it. And then I had to report my test. And then they get back to you because we're obviously on some kind of list, and said, oh, doctor will phone you up. So someone phoned me up and said, well, you can't have antivirals because of other medication you take. So you're going to have to come to the city hospital and have an infusion. I was like, oh no, we haven't got a car anymore and I've got COVID. And they're like, all right, we'll send somebody to pick you up. So a guy came, picked me up, took me to the hospital.
Brave person sitting in a car with somebody with COVID.
Yeah. then there was just this one little random room with about 6 people, all on little infusions. Took about an hour, and that was done. And she was like, "Oh, you'll find probably by tonight." So I was probably on day. You have to have it within the first 5 days. I think I was, by the time they got back to me and sorted it out, probably day 3 or 4. You'll find you feel a lot better tonight. Everyone said that. Well, I didn't, but I stopped getting worse, but I didn't necessarily feel better. But it still did last a whole 10 days before the negative tests started happening.
That's really interesting because I've so far not had it. Which,
wow.
Yeah, quite pleased and surprised with. I wonder what they infused you with. Enthusiasm,
Yes.
obviously.
They were like, "Yeah, you got the COVID." I was going to tell you what it was, but I've got no idea. Just some antibodies. It was a MAB, one of those, something MAB.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you said mouth at first. I thought I could just envisage this big mouth.
Well, it's the COVID. And they said you could get it again, but it will be not as bad. Ooh, hello.
Fair. It was obviously halfway down that setting when I bumped it the first time and I hadn't realised. You won't get it again. They said.
Well, they said if you get it again, it won't be bad because it. Oh, I'm trying to explain medical things with no knowledge or little memory of what they said, but it's almost like it chops the bad bits off the COVID nasty. This is COVID.
Yeah.
This is when it just gets out your system with the drugs. That's pretty much what I think they learned at medical school.
I think they probably did. So this is COVID.
This is what happens to.
This is what happened.
Yeah.
Cool. It's possibly one of the more coherent explanations I've heard. So yeah.
Yeah. But it was nice, and we got cups of tea. The man there was also had the surname Bird, and was disproportionately excited by me having the surname Bird. I was like, "Oh, we hardly ever have patients called Bird." And I was like, "Okay." It's not an uncommon name. I know a couple of people with it.
Yeah, but you are related to them.
My mum's not called Bird. What am I talking about? She once was. She's not anymore. My dad, my brother.
Yeah, loads of people.
But this guy was really into it.
We all have our things, don't we?
Yeah. So I had COVID, but I lost it.
Back on theme. So one thing I was going to mention is that today's episode we're hoping will be seen by some of the cohort from Shift MS, because this very weekend we are co-hosting the Shift MS
Takeover. We're taking over.
Taking over the. What are we taking over? What's it called? The thing that we're taking over?
Instagram stories takeover. We know what we're doing. Yeah. So hi.
So welcome to all our viewers. Hello. That went smoothly. They'll never notice.
Yeah. But yes, we are.
Yeah, and you'll probably know by now what it is we did.
So losing it can very much apply to many things in the MS world. The world of a person with MS, I think. The plot, all of your stuff, especially anything you put in a safe place.
For example, when we were coming to record this, I picked up my flower as a piece of Flora to put in my hair, because I quite often wear a flower in my hair, and I specifically wanted to for this episode. It's no longer in my hand. I don't know where it is. It's not in my hair.
Just could be anywhere, that's the thing.
It's one of those really frustrating things that you have in your hand and then it's not in your hand, and absolutely no concept where it is.
I did it on Monday, Sunday night, did this show, had all my laptop and chargers and stuff, picked up my laptop with no regard for anything that connected it to anything or all of the wires, walked away. The next day, oh my God, where's... Luckily, it went back yesterday, it was all there and it was fine. Yeah, it's like your brain's a bit naughty and like it's pranking you. Yeah. You're not going to take this important stuff because... I want you to have a bit of distress tomorrow when you realise.
I was away at the weekend and I had no power to charge my phone or anything, and I was in a tent. That wasn't the plan. The plan was, because I'm trying to be nice to myself, I'm tried to hire for the third time, tried to hire a camper van to go away in. This is a whole long another story, which I don't necessarily need to go into completely. But anyway, let's just say it wasn't as advertised, and when I got there, it was a complete death trap. And this guy that was saying, oh yeah, the people that brought it back this morning, they've really abused it. I was like, they didn't make it rusty this morning. So the step is hanging on by like literally a thread of metal. It's like, no, that's
Passing the blame.
And I said to him, well, can you show me how the bed goes down? And he said, it's really easy. I said, yeah, but part of the reason for me getting a camper van is because my fingers are not great. So if I can have a bed and it's down and it's just there, then that's great. And I want to make sure there's room at the end for my porta potty, because, you know, with MS, it's really helpful. He went to pull the bed down, ended up yanking it, and then bashed it into the fridge, because the fridge sticks out further than the bed, where the bed goes. And then he says, oh, what you need to do is just push the fridge in and hold it while you put the bed down.
Not okay.
So I said, so the advantages to me are like having a bed and having somewhere to charge my phone and devices, and a fridge and a cooker. And he said, oh yeah. Here's the plug to plug it in. I went, but I'm going camping in a field. There's nothing to plug into. I thought you had a 12 volt. He said, oh, there is 12 volt. It runs up. I said, so you've got a leisure battery? He said, oh yeah, there's a battery. Have you got a leisure battery? So, for example, on my former little van I had, it had a leisure battery, which is charged by the main battery when you're driving, but then it doesn't drain it out again when you're stationary. So it's a one-way trickle thing. He says, oh yeah, you need a, I can't remember the word for it, but he said, you need a, whatever it's called for that. I said, yeah.
What, he was expecting you to provide
But I can give you 2 leads to plug into the mains. I said, it's still a field. It still has no plug to plug it into. You can give me 12 leads. It still won't help. So my advantages are the cooker that you can't get to when the bed's down, the fridge that you can't go into when the bed's down, and also you have to physically hold out the way to put the bed down, and the power that you've put a spare car battery in there for that may or may not run the 112 volt outlet that you have attached to it. And he said, I said, you know what I'm going to say? He said, yeah, I don't blame you. He said, they really damaged it. They really ruined it.
Well, they did all this, did they?
They did not ruin the layout, design and content of your van, did they?
They reconfigured
They didn't
all of it.
create all that rust in one weekend, one night. So I didn't get a camper van yet again. So my trusty tent and I went out again to a festival. Hence, I had no power, but actually it's really nice because for the first time in ages, I completely switched off from outside world. I didn't have anybody coming to do any work in my house. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to be anywhere. I couldn't communicate with anyone. Once my battery went, that was that. And was just really nice.
I left my phone in Derby. I went to see my dad and I left my phone. I knew a week later I was going back because my dentist is still in Derby. So I was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll come back then, and you don't have to bring it over to me. I'll come back then. It'll be fine. It's like, oh, actually, it's quite hard, isn't it? A week without a phone.
It's slightly different when you're at a festival in a field because you don't need to do things like check when the electrician's coming or what time your appointment is for this and this and this. But yeah, during the at-home week, it's hard. Do you remember when you lost your phone in all those episodes ago?
Just, yeah, this is a thing, hey. This is a thing. Numerous things I've put in safe places and then I can't find them.
Exactly.
Which is why we met at memory school.
That's right. We went to memory school and met each other, and I've forgotten what else we did.
I can't remember how you're supposed to remember things, but you know, we got this.
We got this.
So losing it. Have you been losing it with the heat? Oh.
Good cue. Funnily enough, I've actually felt better.
Me too.
Isn't that bizarre? Because normally the heat wipes me out, wet heat, not abroad heat, which is easier, but home heat, damp heat. Damp heat? It's not called that. What's it called?
Deep heat.
When there's more moisture in the air, like we have here when it's hotter. Not a dry heat, the opposite. Not a wet heat, is it?
Moist heat.
Yes, I don't get on so well with that moist heat.
No, I just don't want moist heat, do you?
Nobody wants moist heat.
But yeah, me too. I felt like I was thriving on it. I really did. I slept really well.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, isn't it? And the rest of the country was just falling apart.
Our cat Bat, who was 20, we had a little party for her, but also then we had left to also celebrate 20 years with us, because, you know, just want to make an excuse to celebrate. We'd got a bottle of fizz in the fridge and it was really hot, and obviously you're not supposed to drink that much, but it felt like the ideal excuse to just finally drink that, to celebrate the cat, drink that. But it was good because, I mean, it's not good. Doctors wouldn't recommend it, but drank the fizz, just passed out. Oh no, we're going to put this out to other people with MS, and we look like the worst examples of. But anyway, drank it, felt a bit jolly, fell asleep. We had the fan on, slept really well, woke up fresh.
I've been thinking about having some alcohol because since I had the trigeminal neuralgia and I've been on the carbamazepine, I've only had 2 attempts at drinking some alcohol, and each time I literally only had 1 sip and got a blinding headache and thought,
Yeah.
have I made that up, or is it a really that? Because other people on some forums have said, oh yeah, no, I get a bit of a headache but I do it anyway, and I was just like, So I put a thread on an MS forum and said, is this all in my head? Or has anybody else experienced this? And so many people said the same thing. They've not been able to drink since 2007. They can't drink at all. Instant blinding headache, almost like a full-blown neuralgia attack. And everybody's decided it really wasn't worth it. I was like, most of my life, I've never been that fussed about whether I drink alcohol or not. I've just not been bothered. But I really, really, really wanted to drink that week. I didn't have one. Back on the no seccos.
Oh, probably for the best. I mean, don't listen to me about anything. Things that are bad for you are bad
Are
for you.
bad for you. It's our logo we really ought to remember. Except when they're good for you, like heat and drinking alcohol, if you're Jeanette. So speaking of alcohol and losing it, so when I was away at the weekend at the festival, my neighbour fed my cats the first time he's done that for me. So I got him a bottle of wine to say thank you. And I'd put it in the garage because it was cooler in there and I wouldn't trip over it. So I got back late on Sunday night, well, about 9ish on Sunday. And he popped the key back and I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm really tired, but I've got something for you. I'll pop it in tomorrow. Spent all of Monday. Couldn't I find that wine anywhere? No. Oh. 4 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon, open the fridge. There it is in the fridge. I'd obviously brought it in from the garage and thought, oh, a bottle of wine, that should go in the fridge. Hidden it behind the fruit juice, completely not seen it, totally lost it. Couldn't find it anywhere. Nearly 48 hours that was. Couldn't find it anywhere. Oh, well then, having found it, I forgot to put it next door because in my head, I'd done it. Now I'd found it.
That's a problem, isn't it, when you just move on a step? Do you know what I'm quite bad at now that I actually used to be good at? And I think we've talked before about like a stubbornness. I used to be good at making lists, but now, even though I need lists to remind myself, I don't do them anymore. And I think it's just part of me, like, I would be told to write a list, which is ludicrous, and it would really help me out.
And it's one of those things, isn't it? You're arguing with yourself. That's funny you should say that because I've been making lists a lot and I had a little notepad. I have a little notepad that fits in my handbag that you can write all of your lists in. But if you then pick up, say, an old envelope and write one of the lists on there and then go out of the house.
You've literally gone off book on that one.
I have. And then this morning I've made a list on a scrappy corner of an orange piece of paper, not a whole piece of paper, just a corner of a used piece of paper that's now got a little bit more list on it. And I'm not entirely sure it's related to this list, but it's definitely not in the list book.
You see, this is what happens when you make lists. And you're probably going to lose them because they're
Yeah.
loose as can be. I like your little book idea though. That's quite nice.
As ideas go, it's brilliant, but when it's just not to hand, so you use something else, theoretically, brilliant.
So we're really living up to the losing it theme here.
We are indeed. I have just completely lost all threads now.
We've lost it all, but yes, it's a very appropriate title. I'm doing it all the time.
Absolutely. Very, very familiar feeling. And it's so frustrating. That's the other thing. If you try and explain to people that you have an issue with this, yeah, I'm always losing things.
Yeah. Or they just clearly think it's an excuse for you being shit.
Does it take you 7 goes to leave the house? Because every time you've gone out the door, you realise you don't have in your hand the key, for example, or you don't have in your hand your glasses, or you don't have it. Yeah.
Linking this to the heat thing, I was all like, yeah, I'm thriving in this, it's really good. And then I would try and do a task or write an email, and it would take me about 4 hours. So I just kept losing what I was doing, getting distracted. But I think genuinely that probably is a time that other people are allowed to say, yeah, I had that too. Otherwise, they can't say that. It's annoying.
Just when the temperature is in excess of 35 degrees.
Yeah, I think then it's allowed. They need to check that though. Hang on, I've got some things popped up on my screen and it's dead distracting. Which is weirdly kind of a little bit listy. Just some calendar entries. See, I'm quite good at that now. Just not at the set list. And it's really nice because you can like cross things off.
That's why I like a physical list, because you can cross them off, whereas when they're electronic, you kind of delete them or whatever, but it's not the same as that.
No, because you want to know that it happened.
Yeah.
You did it and you
You
completed
did
it.
do a thing. Sometimes I need evidence that I've done a thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to the list.
Let's revive the lists.
Get the list back. Yeah, no, actually, really do think that, because that is one thing that you can often have because life becomes a bit more all over the place. Getting a sense of completion and certainty is more difficult. So if you can literally just cross a thing off a piece of paper.
Always write one thing on that's really simple, like clean teeth or have breakfast or something.
But it does make you feel like, yeah, I did the thing.
Did that. We're on the way. We're moving down the list. Something has been achieved.
Yeah, we've learned things I already knew at last. Oh, bye.
So this has been Losing It, the Flora and Fauna episode, or is it Flora and Fauna, the Losing It episode?
One of the two.
Do you know? It doesn't matter.
Does not matter.
Yeah. I've been Lytisha.
I've been Jeanette. Bye. I was wondering if people could tell us their funny stories about losing things, because it's frustrating, but it's also like pretty funny.
What are the most bizarre things that you found that you had been losing it over, or with, or of?
Or situations you've got into as a result of the losing thing.
Losing it.